I'm Azra.
And I'm Aisha.
And we're the Mian twins. And welcome back to Squared.
So obviously this is a twin channel. It's called Squared. Double of everything.
Yes.
But have you ever thought about like what, well at least for me as a twin, I kind of always think like, how does someone like approach a twin and just like ask these questions?
Weird questions. So we're going to tell you guys things
what not to ask a twin.
Or, I mean, not like,
kind of as a joke more, but like things that like we find like maybe offensive. We might take it offensively if you ask, or kind of just like irrelevant.
Funny or irrelevant. So like things like, you know, it's like a joke, but like we get it all the time. So we're gonna tell you guys some of those things. But before we get started, don't forget to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe down below.
Squared.
Yes.
Now
and
get on with the video.
So the first thing that we get asked a lot is, do you guys feel each other's pain? This is not really more like what not to ask us, but something we get asked repetitively as like a joke. And it's always like, oh my god, like, did you feel that?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it's funny, but like,
it's not that it like we don't want you to ask it, but then it gets to the point where you don't know how to respond to that anymore. You're like, you just like get sarcastic. And
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I felt it. Like it kind of gets like a little awkward for us.
Yeah.
Like, we get it all the time. So maybe ask another funny one. We might respond a little bit better because that one we get all the time. Another one is the same birthday question.
It's always
this one.
What if one of you was born at like 11:59, but one was born at like 12:01?
Yeah,
so
and it's not very common.
I mean, hey, it happens, but like, what's like the probability of you meeting twins that aren't born on the same day? You know what I mean? So that I think is kind of like more like, really? You had to ask that?
Yeah.
Another one is, who's smarter? And it's always like, there's always a smarter twin, and one's like one who's like more intelligent,
or one that's better in the subject. But for us, at least that's not the case. Like,
yeah. Or like we also get kind of like sad about it because like it's always like a competition now, I guess, for us. Like,
yeah,
when
like who gets the higher average.
It's always like when we get our report cards, like, ooh, someone like takes both our papers to compare, and I was like, ooh,
and they're always
like, oh yeah, ours are smarter,
and it puts the other one down a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
it makes you upset. I mean, personally, I don't get like that butthurt over it, but like,
then it makes us want to try a little bit harder because you don't want to be the one that's on the bottom.
It's like always getting compared to someone. Like, you never have like your own like brain. You know?
I'm sure if you have siblings, you getting compared to your sibling.
Oh, exactly.
Not the best feeling. Okay, this one, I think this is the one that hurts the most. And this one is, who's the prettier twin? And this is definitely something you don't say to a set of twins, because we actually get it a lot. Like, people will come up straight to your face and be like, oh, this one's prettier than the other one.
Yeah, they will tell you like, oh, like you're prettier than her, or like your nose is bigger than hers, or like
your lips are smaller than hers,
or like your
teeth are more crooked. Like, it's just like
you're way more than her. Like, you know, it's always like, I mean, that puts the other twin down, and not only does like, let's say someone like offends me when they say something, the other one also be upset because it's like, they feel bad for their twin. You know what I mean?
It doesn't really make sense.
So I think it's just sometimes we can get a little upset when someone calls one the prettier one, the other one like the funny twin.
That's definitely a do not.
It's always the pretty twin and the funny twin.
Yeah.
So I mean, and if we always tell me, like, trust me, if you know identical twins and you tell them that, they'll probably get upset over it. But some, I mean, I was taking it as jokes because we know people aren't being serious about it. But sometimes it can be upsetting. So be nice.
Okay, this one's a big one because we actually experienced this. This is definitely don't go ahead to one twin and talk behind the other twin behind their back and expect that twin not to tell their twin, because they're gonna tell each other everything. For example, this one girl once came up to me and started trash talking Azra and said, oh, but don't tell her. I live with her, I'm gonna tell her everything you say about her.
But obviously, like, we wouldn't like, I wouldn't say anything to that person. I wouldn't approach them.
No
like,
confrontation.
We keep that between us. But like, don't talk about each other behind our backs, because we're very close. Or I mean, twins that I know personally that are identical, they're very close. So
they're gonna tell each other.
The last one.
This one's kind of like a funny thing.
This one's funny. Like, we get it a lot. We get it a lot, but I just think it's hilarious. People always say, would you guys marry the same person?
And it's like, we'll get messages on Instagram like, will you and your sister date me at the same time? Like, it's not how twins work. We're not the same person. So that's a funny do
one.
not. But hey, if you do message it, I'm just gonna laugh.
I find it funny, but
surprisingly, a lot of people do ask that question.
Oh,
like,
it's
are you guys into the same
common
person?
Than I think like that it should be, that people ask that question.
That's a really funny one, but I'm surprised people actually think to ask that. Maybe because I'm a twin, I'm the only person that's like, that's kind of a weird question.
Exactly.
Maybe if I wasn't a twin, I'd say it all the time, be like that. You know, maybe they like the same person, but that's not the case. I mean, hey, you never know. Maybe it is for some twins. I don't know, but not for us. So those are all the do nots when it comes to asking twins questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, found it kind of funny, and actually it's surprising a lot of it is true. Like, yeah, well, all of it is true. So
if you're a twin, you can relate on a personal level.
Comment
down below because we know we cannot be the only ones who feel this way.
No, definitely not.
So maybe even some of the twins on Squared are like, oh my god, that happens to me all the time. So
yeah,
let us know. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.
If you want to subscribe, you can click right over here,
and you can watch yesterday's video over here and more from us over there. And we'll see you guys next Sunday.
Bye.